History remembers Moscow in September 1994 as a celebration of peace, but behind the music festival stages, a terrifying corporate and security nightmare was unfolding. Over 500,000 fans gathered at Tushino Airfield for the Monsters of Rock festival, creating a massive logistical powder keg just years after the Soviet collapse. Promoters had invited heavy metal titans Metallica, AC/DC, and Pantera to perform, completely underestimating the raw, volatile energy of the newly freed Russian youth. Pantera was at the absolute peak of their aggressive groove metal reign, fueled by the massive success of their album Far Beyond Driven. But the real danger wasn't the music itself. It was the brutal, iron-fisted Russian internal security force known as the Oman Riot Police. Thousands of heavily armed officers patrolled the festival grounds, wielding rubber batons and showing zero tolerance for moshing or crowd surfing. As Pantera took the stage in the afternoon heat, the crowd surged forward like a tidal wave, instantly breaking through the fragile metal barricades. What happened next triggered an all-out urban warfare scenario between angry fans and state security forces right in front of the band. Police began indiscriminately beating fans with batons for simply dancing, sparking immediate and furious retaliation from the metalheads. Bottles, rocks, and concrete chunks rained down on the officers, turning the concert grounds into a violent war zone of flying debris and blood. From the stage, vocalist Phil Anselmo witnessed the brutal beatdowns and made a fateful decision that would escalate the tension to a boiling point. Instead of calming the crowd, Anselmo began screaming insults at the Oman forces, encouraging the audience to fight back against the oppressive police state. Guitarist Dimebag Darrell kept shredding heavy riffs while dodging flying objects, watching in disbelief as military trucks rolled directly into the concert area. The sheer scale of the violence forced international tour managers to seriously consider cutting the power and evacuating the entire band immediately. Yet, despite the chaos erupting around them, Pantera refused to stop playing, delivering one of the most dangerous and legendary sets in heavy metal history. Hundreds of injuries were officially reported by medical tents, with blood staining the dust of Tushino Airfield as the riot police retaliated with full force. But the real turning point wasn't just the physical clash. It was a hidden geopolitical message that resonated across the entire post-Soviet music industry. Russian fans proved they were no longer suppressed citizens, willing to obey authoritarian crowd control methods enforced by legacy government regimes. For Pantera, this harrowing Moscow experience cemented their dangerous reputation as the most fearless, uncompromising metal band on the planet. Backstage security briefings leaked years later revealed that Russian authorities genuinely feared a full-scale revolution sparked entirely by Western rock music fans. Pantera's defiant stance in Moscow became an underground legend, passing down through VHS tape trades and early internet forums for decades. The concert fundamentally changed how international promoters handled logistics in Eastern Europe, introducing stricter security and negotiation protocols with local police. Looking back, the 1994 Moscow riot was much more than a chaotic concert. It was a cultural collision between the old world and modern freedom. The heavy metal community showed that music could transcend political barriers, even when those barriers were enforced by batons and military vehicles. Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul often recalled Moscow as one of the most surreal and intense moments of their entire legendary touring career. The legacy of that afternoon lives on every time a heavy metal band pushes boundaries in countries with strict censorship and authoritarian control. As music consumption moves entirely to sterile digital platforms today, the raw, unpredictable danger of 1990s rock history feels almost impossible to replicate. Pantera's Moscow riot remains an eternal reminder that heavy metal was never just entertainment. It was an unstoppable force of pure rebellion. Subscribe to Metal and Rock History to uncover more dark, untold stories behind the biggest legends of rock and roll music. Drop a comment below telling us which legendary rock concert disaster you want us to investigate next.